Carolina rig is really a great bait to catch fish all year long. Whether it's in the spring and they're just coming up shallow, or if it's in the summertime ledges, in the fall when the fish are transitioning through the creek channels, whatever it may be, you can always catch fish on a Carolina rig. There's your good Carolina rig fish right there. What sets a Carolina rig apart from all your other bottom fishing baits is the fact of the leader. And what this does is it allows you to use a real heavy weight in any kind of conditions, because the fish never feel the weight with the line sliding like this. I'll use either a 1 ounce or a ½ ounce weight depending on the depth that I'm fishing. So you can always go to a little bit heavier weight and still feel your bait. When you're fishing a Carolina rig, it's a very versatile bait because you can change your leader length. You can make it anywhere from 10 to 12 inches in the springtime if you're fishing around spawning fish. Some people even go with like a 6-foot leader out here on ledges. I tend to stay somewhere around 3 feet pretty much all the time unless I'm fishing right around bedfish, and then I'll go to a lot shorter leader just for the simple fact that it's easier to get around cover and things like that up shallow. But out here on these ledges, you want your bait to kind of float up a little bit. So what I like to do all the time is I will use a fluorocarbon mainline 20-pound test, and this happens to be Seagar Sniper. My leader material, I'll use monofilament. So that lets your bait float up and give it some extra action that you don't get with a Texas rig. And this happens to be the 15-pound test. That's what I like to stick with unless the water is real clear. I'll go down to 10-pound test, but I like to stay with 15. That monofilament, again, that is very important. Everybody likes to just use the line that they have on their reel already for their leader material, but you need to carry you an extra spool of monofilament to get that extra action. With a Carolina rig, there's really 3 presentations that I will use working this bait. The first one's just real simply, just pull it along a few feet. There's actually a bite right there. That was just a very, very subtle bite. I mean, it was just one little peck and he had it. And then as you can see, the hook set is something that's very important with this bait. You always want to kind of sweep to the side like that, because you've oftentimes got a lot of line out, especially when you're fishing out here deeper. That way you can get the hook a good sweep and just a constant reel, and you're about guaranteed to get a good hook set in these fish. Another good technique to use with this Carolina rig if it's real windy is, instead of just dragging the rod, you can actually point it at it so there's no bow in your line, and just turn your reel handle real slow and maintain contact with the bottom. You want to kind of simulate the action that you would give it if you were pulling the rod to the side, so you still want to kind of do a stop and go retrieve. And it's the same way, you'll feel the exact same bite as you would if you were just dragging it along. And the bites can either be, you'll either feel them sometimes just take the rod out of your hands, or you'll just pick up and there'll be a fish on there. Another way that I like to fish this thing sometimes, if the fish may not be sitting right on the bottom, is I'll take it and just kind of sweep my rod and pick it up. So what this does is it makes your bait hop up, and then since the weight's not attached to it, it just kind of glides back down. So it comes back down in front of their faces. This can be a real good technique to do if the fish are kind of lethargic or just off the bottom. You catch a bunch of fish doing that not that many people do. Your rod selection is very important when throwing a Carolina rig. When you've got a long leader like that, it's not the easiest thing in the world to throw. So what I like to use, I like a 7/6 rod, like a medium heavy or a heavy action flipping stick, to help me get that thing out there and really launch it, and the length of the rod takes up for the length of that leader, so you can actually get it up off the water and get a good long cast. And with a reel, I always like to use a 7-to-1 reel whenever I'm fishing something slow that seems kind of backwards, but a lot of these bites, you'll get it and they'll be running with it, or you may not get the best hook set in it and you've got to really catch up to the line. So that's why I like a real high-speed reel to catch up to these fish and make sure you get a good hook set. And there again, the long rod, you got a long cast, a lot of line out. You may be fishing anywhere from 10 to 30 feet deep. So that helps get that good hook in that fish and get them in the boat. So yeah, I really didn't get the hook set good in that one. I had to catch up to him with the reel. Just get out here, made just a few casts. And that is a good one on the old ball and chain Carolina rig. There's your good Carolina rig fish right there. That's what you can catch out here on these ledges on Carolina rig. He choked it too.